Welcome back, everybody, to Two Dudes Talking Motorcycles. My name is Gleb, and you can follow me on social media at Gleb Lapham.
And I am Mitch. You can follow me at Meets to the Beach.
And you can also follow the podcast at tdtmotorcycles. And you can send us an email at tdtmotorcycles@gmail.com. We'd love to hear some topic ideas.
Yeah.
Send us topic ideas because we could really use some. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And if you ever have any questions, comments, suggestions, ride stories, pictures of your bikes, send us whatever you want.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it. And we'll try to respond.
So. Yeah.
But today we're going to be talking about kind of a yappy topic. A little bit of a discussion. Sort of basically
a reflection.
Yeah. On the 6 years of riding, because we are almost to May. April. When did you get your bike?
In May.
May?
Yeah.
Okay. I got mine in May too, because we both got our bikes.
It's like the same week or something.
We both got our bikes about roughly 6 years ago, and within basically like a week of one another. And at that point, we weren't even friends.
No.
We knew each other because we used to work at Best Buy together.
Yeah.
And I still had you on Snapchat for some reason.
I don't know how we got yeah. So I don't know how we connected, but
yeah, because I for some reason had you on Snapchat, and I was just and I didn't have my Snapchat on the phone for a while. But there was a girl I liked that had Snapchat, so I re-downloaded it again, so reasons.
Yeah. Yeah, get that.
Anyways, and I was scrolling through one day and I saw your story, and it was
that was the day it was delivered too.
Yeah,
because I had my bike delivered, it was special. But
it was the picture of your Honda, the dash, or at least the dashboard. I was like, oh, that's cool, dude. What kind of bike is that? And you're like, oh, it's a Honda Rebel. I was like, oh, no way, I just got a Honda too. And it was a week.
Yeah.
And then eventually we met up and went on a ride over.
We met in Park City. Yeah. We went over in Park City. We hit up Wolf Creek, and we had to stop twice because Senna communication.
Yep. So. I had my Cardo. You had the Senna.
Yeah.
We couldn't figure out how to make that work and connect together.
Talk to each other.
Yep. I can't believe that was 6 years ago.
I know. It's been way too long.
Yeah. So. COVID was still a thing. This is in 2020.
Yeah.
And COVID was still full stride. Still kind of working from home / in the office, at least for me.
Yeah.
And but that year, at the beginning of 2020 in February, before shit hit the fan, I started a new job, and it paid enough for me to actually be able to afford a motorcycle. So then I finally got all my gear first because I wanted to be really safe.
Yep.
And then went shopping for a motorcycle and ended up with a 2019 Honda CB500X with only 1,500 miles on it.
That's nice.
And I bought it for $5,900 at a local shop in Salt Lake. I think it's called Quad and Cycle or something like that. And it's a mechanic shop / they had used ATVs and motorcycles.
Okay, yeah.
And I saw it on KSL, which for those outside of Utah, it's a kind of local news website, but they also have a pretty good classifieds section.
It's our own local Craigslist.
Pretty much. So I saw they posted it on there, and I was like, oh, hey, that's actually a really good price, and 1,500 miles is basically brand new motorcycle. Because before I bought that, I was planning on buying one brand new from Honda World, and then they kind of ghosted me, so I was just like, well, that was rude. And then to my benefit, I saw the one used one pop up, and I probably saved close to $2,500 on it versus buying brand new.
Yeah. Because
they sold it to me for, I think it was listed for $6,000. And I went down there, rode around the block. I was like, cool, I'll take it. And then the guy was like, cool, I'll set it aside for you. And then I think over the weekend, one of my friends, his dad had a trailer. So we took his trailer, and me and him drove down to the motorcycle shop and then put it on the trailer to tow it back up because I was too nervous to ride on the freeway.
Yeah, that's why I had mine delivered.
Yeah, from Salt Lake. And I was like, I haven't really ridden on public roads before. I've taken the MSF and that was it.
Yeah.
And I really don't want to get on a 80-mile-an-hour freeway with first time owning this bike. So I needed someone to help me bring it back up to my parents. And I was down there and signing the paperwork, and then right as I was about to pay, before I asked them if if that's the lowest price they can go, and the lady was just like, I could knock another $100 off. I was like, all right, so went down to like 5,900, which honestly pretty solid for that bike.
Yeah.
And when I sold it, or when I traded in for my Tiger, they gave me $5,000 for it. So I was like, about
Easy.
$500 or $900, not bad at all. I'll take it.
Really not bad.
Yeah. And then it kind of like snowballed from there.
Yeah. Yeah. For mine, I went new obviously for mine, and, but yeah, being the new rider is like, no, I don't want to drive it home. I'll be scared.
Yeah. Honestly, it's very understandable.
Yeah.
Because the first time I got on the freeway.
And if you've never ridden on a public road on a bike too, it can be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then like first time I took my bike out on the freeway, it felt terrifying. Like you're going fast. If everything feels much faster.
Well, we're on those little 500 engines, so you're like revving that thing.
Oh yeah. You're really revving it out.
Adds the intensity.
The freeway, one of the freeways that near me is kind of goes through like a canyon sort of, so it's pretty twisty as well. Yeah. And I was like, I want to go right up in the mountains and then come back that way. And I just remember like seeing those turns coming up on the bike going like 70, 65 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Like, I got to lean and I got to make sure I'm like really looking through the corners, not fixating on the concrete barricade.
Right. Yeah.
Because that would suck.
Yeah. Just some, I don't know. Yeah. I got reminiscent about like when I first started riding, and I thought this could be good because like, so for you, like when you were first getting into riding, like before you got your bike, leading up to getting it, like what was like your Instagram or whatever feed that you had? Like what's because social media is just going to be a part of everything we do.
Pretty much.
So that's what I was remembering what that looked like for me, like getting into it versus what I know now.
Basically since like college, I was always pretty active on like social media because I did. I've been doing photography since like high school and stuff like that. That's when I first got Instagram and decided to start posting pictures on there and stuff of that would like travel and hang out with friends. I'd make vlogs on YouTube, which if anyone's listening, you can go to look me up on YouTube, find my channel, and you'll see some of my like old videos where I tried to do like photography tutorials and like some weekly vlogs and things like that, because that was kind of like the big thing that was going on.
Well, back then too,
when I was like in college and right out of college, because like you had people like and if you're into photography or video, you're probably familiar with some of these folks, but you had like people like Peter McKinnon and Matty Hipoya and Mango Street and like a lot of these photographers and videographers posting on YouTube and making like travel videos. There was Vaga Brothers, a channel I really liked on YouTube, and they would post like travel vlogs. There was I can't remember, it was like Luc LeBlanc or Mark LeBlanc, somebody he did like travel videos and like all sorts of different basically like most of my YouTube revolved around like travel, photography, and video, because that's the stuff I really like doing. But over the years it kind of changed. Like COVID really kind of was a little iffy because travel really slowed down a ton. Then
I feel like the internet got a lot weirder during COVID.
It got really weird. TikTok just barely came out, so like the short form video was, or not came out, but like it started really taking off. So like the short form video really started taking off like crazy.
Yeah.
And I got my motorcycle, so naturally, me being somebody that likes to do stuff, I also want to share the stuff that I'm doing online. So the motorcycle quickly kind of started taking over a lot of that, a lot of the content on my social media. Sort of, yeah. And I kind of like, it's kind of like a feedback loop, like one type of content and it keeps feeding you back.
Yep.
So I found like a bunch of like motorcycle pages to follow, like people like Moto Bob, Itchy Boots I already knew about because that's one of the inspirations for me getting a motorcycle initially, and same with Vaga Brothers. But I was already following Itchy Boots, but then I started following like Off She Goes. I can't remember her actual real name off the top of my head. Runa Gertland or something like that. Following like her and like Itchy Boots, and I started following Moto Bob and Adventure. Not ADV Moto. So ABR, Adventure, Adventure Bike Radio or something like that. Like a bunch of like adventure bike motorcycle pages, Dork in the Road, Fortnite. That was a big one that I found. Like all sorts of pages, both on like YouTube and Instagram, and then TikTok. So it kind of like really skewed my Instagram towards motorcycling. And kind of fed into this want to like ride and adventure, and plus it was like something cool and new and exciting, something I really haven't done before or owned before. So I was really eager to share it with people.
Yeah. I get that. And that's kind of how mine was too. I remember, well, first of all, I honestly don't know like what really brought up the motorcycle bug for me, you know, cause I was just working. That's all I did was just work and then go home and have some beers or some whiskey, you know, and just work. It's like, I need something to do. Yeah. The pandemic made that worse.
Definitely.
You know? So, but even leading up to it, like, so even like before the pandemic, like just, I do remember it was when I was out at my grandparents' property, and they had their 4-wheeler, and it's like, I haven't ridden anything like this since I was a kid. Yeah. Hopped on the 4-wheeler, started taking down some trails and around the property and stuff. And it was just like, this is really nice. Yeah. It's like something like, oh, this awoken something. And from there, that's when I started researching motorcycles. And a lot of mine was like, I don't know, maybe I just bit off more than I could chew. I was getting like custom rebuilds of old CBs, like 750s and stuff. It was like
really cool.
And cafe bikes. Yeah. You know, I was like, ooh, I need one of those bikes. Cause I like that look of them. Same. Well, I got the Rebel, you know, cruiser. Cause it's like, oh, it's like a cruiser, but it's not like full on American Harley. Yeah. You know? So, but I learned quickly. I was like, I'm not really about the cruiser stuff. I did like this cafe looks of everything. Yeah. And I had dreams of turning my Rebel into like a cafe looking cruiser. But then I was like, oh, that's a lot of work.
That is a lot of work.
And a lot of money.
And I remember like before I even got my first bike, before I even like got my MSF, and I was thinking like, man, if I were to get a motorcycle, I wanted to get like, I'll just get like an old bike, pay like $5,000 or less for it. You just get like an old bike and it'll look like,
that's what I was thinking. Have that
like classic quintessential like motorcycle look, round headlight, analog dials. Yep. Classic.
Well, I just loved I just fell in love like with those like inline 4 CVs, those old ones,
yeah,
you know.
They did look like, really cool. And I would kind of same thing where I would see like a lot of these like custom builds and stuff like that. And I'm just like, wow, that'd be really cool. I can get something older. I can like shiny it up and stuff. Yeah. But now looking back and I'm like, Gleb, you would be way too lazy to do that.
I know. Well, it's like I look at back and it's like I'm too lazy now. And like, there's no way. Like I would have like that would have just been like ended up like rusting away. Like
exactly. And now that I already have a motorcycle, like if I had a garage and stuff to I wouldn't mind getting an older bike and like kind of like not like something that I have to restore. But if it needs like a little bit of upkeep here and there, I wouldn't mind it because
especially a dirt bike. I would like an old dirt bike.
I would like an old that's like classic looking bike. But then like if I already have one bike, I'm not going to be so like annoyed that I have to constantly fix up the old bike when I could be riding instead of working on it. But if I have two, well, then I can always like work on one if I'm bored or if the weather's bad. Yeah. And then occasionally take it out for rides while also still having an actual bike to ride.
Yeah. For me, I remember like looking at, like, at this point knew nothing about bikes. Yeah. But what really turned me off to like older bikes too is like one, like now I have the foresight to say like, there's no way I would have been wanting to like do a whole restore like for an old bike. No. But like, even back then I was like carburetors, like carburetor. Nope. Yeah, no, thank you.
I don't think I would get anything carb now. But, I mean, maybe I would if it's like a second, like little weekend only ride to coffee shop, or quick little loop kind of bike versus something that I'll actually like take out on the freeway and really go riding on.
Yeah, and like when I first getting it, like at that time too, one of the first channels I think I found because I Googled like, or I looked on YouTube like, starting motorcycles or getting into motor, something like that. And it was that, what's his name? That Yammy Noob guy.
Yep. I remember this
was 6 years ago.
I remember watching him too. And I
not into him.
Immediately got annoyed.
I kept watching him because I felt like he was annoying to me, but like he had some good advice, at least in his first few videos. Yeah. And I was like, okay, I learned something. And then that's how I learned about Triumph bikes. And I think he was one of the first like things on the internet to say like, don't buy an old bike. Like,
yeah. And it's probably pretty good advice.
I would say so. Yeah. Like if, there's no reason for someone with no experience and to go out and buy a bike from the 80s that,
and if you take a,
God knows what the previous owners have done to it.
If you take a scroll through like Reddit and stuff like that, like the motorcycle subreddit.
Yeah.
Somebody occasionally will ask the question. It's like, oh, I'm a new rider and I saw this like bike from 1980 and I'm thinking of buying it and like restoring it. Everyone was just like, everyone in the comments just saying like, don't do it. If like, you're new to starting out, you'd want to go ride the bike and not have to worry about maintaining it.
I don't know who said it, but I've heard it. It was
going to just be annoying because it's like, oh, I want to go ride and all of a sudden it's not starting up or it has some random problem or
it's not safe for whatever reason.
Or it's not safe. Yeah. Because it doesn't have any of the modern like.
Or if you're really unlucky, you get a bike with a drum brake.
Yeah.
Screw that.
And if you're a new rider, I feel like a lot of those riding aids, especially if you've never ridden any kind of motorcycle before, never touched a dirt bike, never touched like anything really. Mm-hmm. Like, and we mentioned on this podcast before that we strongly recommend getting something that has at least ABS. Because that's going to be one of those big safety things that'll help you in like an emergency situation that I think a lot of new riders are not prepared to.
I can't even think of because I remember like when that was one thing too that I think has changed is like shopping online and looking at bikes. There was always like an ABS version and then a non-ABS version.
Yeah.
I don't think I see that anymore.
I see it occasionally on like certain models, especially here in the US, because I don't think it's still like 100% required. Yeah. Don't quote me on that. I'm not sure if any recent law changes have happened or not, but
it just doesn't make sense to me. Just get
But
ABS.
I think like in Europe, I think they currently require all new bikes to have ABS already installed on them. And I think most manufacturers just kind of made that the default. And honestly, I don't see a reason not to get a bike without ABS.
Yeah.
In today's day and age, especially if it's like a sportier high performance bike, you're going to be driving faster. You're going to be like pushing your limits probably a little bit more. And all of a sudden deer jumps out in front of you or a car pulls out. You can grab a handful of brake, lock up all your tires and end up crashing, whether into the car or layering it down.
Yep.
And ABS is going to help mitigate that, especially if you're a new rider and you're not used to doing like the progressive braking.
Yeah.
All that kind of stuff.
Yeah. But yeah. No, I just came and went.
When you first got your bike, kind of like, what was going through your head of like, okay, I got a bike. This is why I got it. Like, this is how I'm gonna ride it. Well,
I feel like
what was your thinking of how you're gonna be riding a bike, and did you see yourself back then getting like a scrambler and riding off road and doing like sections of like BDR and
the Lost Coast,
and stuff like that? Did you ever see yourself doing something like that?
No, not really. But also I didn't know much about this stuff. Like the last time I had done any sort of like vehicle off-roading, it had been high school, you know, like, and I was young and dumb and irresponsible,
Fair.
So it's like, I had never really considered like motorcycling off-road. I'm sure I've talked about it before on the podcast, but like my very first like motorcycle experience that I drove a motorcycle was a dirt bike that was way too big for me.
Yeah. I remember you saying that.
Class school thing.
Yeah.
And I got left behind because like, it was too much. It was overwhelming for young kid Mitch,
Now you just get left behind as adult Mitch, right?
But at least I can ride it there. Yeah. It's like, I am the slowest, but I'm okay with that.
I don't know. Sometimes I fall behind too.
Yeah. If there's a hill, but, but no, I had never considered like off-road motorcycling, adventuring. Like I'd seen a few of them and I'd see the adventure bikes and I was like, I don't know. I think I'm prone to window shopping because I see something shiny, I like it. And I'd seen a lot of adventure bikes.
That's me right now.
Yeah. A lot of adventure bikes, they don't have like the glamour and the look of them, No, and so I didn't really look into adventure bikes that much until.
I agree. I think most adventure bikes are not the prettiest bikes. There's some that look really cool, like the Desert X.
Nowadays, yeah,
awesome looking bike. I always loved how the GS looked, especially the previous generation, like R1250 and R1200 GS with those blocky headlights, because it just looked so utilitarian.
Yeah.
Ducati's,
but as a new rider, I'm not going to go out and buy a GS because I thought those looked good.
Of course not.
It's like I can't afford that. I don't want that. I shouldn't say never because you can probably
afford a new one at this point.
Yeah.
But it's a big bike and it's a heavy bike. But originally...
I don't think that's a good first bike.
No, God, no. But back before I started riding, and I'm pretty sure I mentioned on this podcast before, like the thing that inspired me and first got me the idea of wanting to get a motorcycle is the Vaga brothers. Yeah. And they did the two brothers, they rode their bikes in California.
Yeah.
And one of them was on an F800 GS, and then the other one was on a Bonneville T120.
Yeah. That's the one I watched too.
And then I remember watching that. I was just like, wow, that looks amazing.
Yeah.
I am going to get a motorcycle in the future. And then I found Itchy Boots, and I was just like, holy shit, this is so cool. I'm not going to ever do something that she's
doing. No, I was going to say, it's just like that Vagabond. I like the idea of trail rides and it's like easy trails. I never got like big into like, oh, let me chuck this 500-pound bike like in the air, you know?
But the thing is, though, is that watching that Vaga Brothers video, since they were riding like both on-road and a little bit of off-road, which is crazy kind of think about doing now on like something like a Bonneville.
Right.
Because one of them was on that, but he had some knobby tires and stuff, and I'm like, that suspension's got to feel a little rough on the road like that.
And it wasn't a scrambler? It wasn't like the 900? It was a
Bonneville T120.
Wow.
And it was
awesome.
An older one. It was carbureted one.
Ugh.
So I think it was like maybe an 08, and he had it for a while, and the other brother had the GS, and I was like, I really like the Bonneville, but that GS looks really cool. And then that's where I kind of started researching, like, what kind of bike is that?
Yeah.
I was like, oh, it's an adventure bike. You know, it's kind of meant for on-road and off-road. And I was just like, I want to do that. And
see, you'd kind of got me more into that, thinking of it, doing more on-off-road. Because originally I was like with the Rebel, you know, I'm so smart. My 500cc Rebel is going to take me across the country. But, you know.
Yeah. I mean, that's how I looked at my Honda too. Yeah. I was like, but then with the Honda, I kind of like watched a bunch of reviews and I'm just like, I think this would be a good bike to go with because it's Honda. So it's reliable, easy to use. And it's kind of like very in between like ADV light. Like it didn't really have like a big engine, but it was kind of like, I saw people riding it off-road. They put some knobbier tires on it. They take it off-road. And I was just like, I can do some roads with that. And I have done some. We've done like some off-roading, some really light off-roading when I had that bike.
If you remember, you've gotten air on from your Honda.
I did.
Yeah, you went airborne on that.
I did a little bit. And
I don't think you've done that on your Tiger. So.
No, I've gotten the front wheel off the ground like ever so slightly.
Yeah.
Just by accelerating. Or we were doing that our last like fall ride last year, and we were going through that canyon.
Oh yeah,
there's
little
dips.
Yeah,
I remember like trying to like.
I think my front
pop a little.
I felt
bit.
my front get pretty light on that one.
Yep.
Yeah,
and it kind of feels a little jarring when you can like, whoa, I can turn that a little too easily. Let's keep that straight. You know. But yeah, on the Honda, like I did some off roading here and there. We took the trip down to Torrey and like Capitol Reef and Bryce Canyon and stuff like that, and that was
rough
coming like. Because we rode for a while that second day, and
my scrambler was still fairly new too.
Yeah, and doing that on like a CB 500, like no cruise control or anything like that. It was like I was wringing that thing out.
It was like one of our first few rides that we did to Bear Lake on the Rebel. I was like, I need a bigger bike.
Yeah, and then like I mean, I was even planning on doing like our ride to Colorado on my.
Oh, originally. Yeah, that's right.
And then I did a full 360 and quickly decided to buy a Tiger or a bigger bike because I was like, well, this thing's paid off and I really want something with more power, more guts. I ended up with the Tiger.
Yeah.
And now I'm kind of considering trading the Tiger in for something that's more off-road focused.
Yeah.
I saw our folks over at Eurosports, they had a Desert X for sale. And I was just like...
That's right. I remember you mentioned
I'm like,
that.
that's such a tempting price. But then after you got the taxes and everything like that, I'm just like, I really don't want to have another monthly payment on top of my car. That's a little like more than I want to spend every month on a product. But I've also seen some Nordens because the previous model years kind of got some good discounts on them. So I was like, kind of got that.
You're thinking
got
about
new
it.
itch in my head of like wanting to switch up the bike a little bit.
Yeah.
Even though I really do like my Tiger, I think it's a great bike, but now that I'm more experienced, I'm kind of realizing like some of the shortcomings it has, especially when it comes to riding off road.
Yeah.
And maybe I would have felt different if I went for like the Rally Pro version instead of just the Rally. But like I mentioned on this podcast before, being able to like switch riding modes to off-road like on the go,
which
having
would be
like
nice.
adjusting like traction control and things like that while continuously moving. It's very enticing to me, especially since we've been doing more.
It is
off-roading.
inconvenient to like
It's
have
so
to stop.
Inconvenient. Yeah.
Or like if you do stop for like a break or to adjust or whatever it is, like if you turn your bike off, hopefully you remember to put it back into off-road. So,
And I feel like that's one of those things that as I like been riding longer and longer, that I kind of start to like pick up on these like little shortcomings of different bikes a lot more and more. And we're kind of lucky enough to be able to try a few different bikes.
Yeah, we are really
even
lucky.
if it's for a short period of time, we still get like a chance to like demo some bikes thanks to our friends over at Eurosport Utah. And which has been really cool because I mean, I don't feel like we ride them long enough to kind of get
I wouldn't say we're
really solid idea of how they perform in like
sample.
Different situations like off-road, highway, twisties, like faster speeds, low speeds, and things like that. It's a very quick like jolt around the block, basically. But it kind of gives something to talk about. It's kind of exciting to try out some of the bikes.
Yeah,
well, I mean, like the bikes we've tried out at like a $30,000 Panigale. Yeah, which is crazy to me that they were like, "Here you go, we trust you guys."
Yeah,
but I feel like when it comes to my bike, though, I'm like had it for like almost 4 years now because I got it in 2020. Oh no, I have had it for 4 years now because I got it like end of March in 2022.
Wow.
And
I've had my bike for 5 years.
What?
I've had my bike for 5 years.
I had mine for 4.
That's insane.
Yeah, pretty good bit of time. And I only had my first one for like 2 years. Yeah, if that. It was basically like 2 years, just under 2 years. I had my CB500 and then bumping up to like the Tiger, but now I'm kind of like doing a lot more rides with it, doing off-roading, kind of like doing bigger rides, like going to California or going to Idaho with Emerson last year. I'm kind of like seeing more and more things that I'm like, that I wish I could do better or could do more of. And now that's why I'm kind of getting that itch of like, okay, I kind of want something similar, but better at these particular things. A little bit better off-roading, but also like, one of the big things is like better fuel economy because that triple is pretty thirsty engine, especially at like higher speeds, which kind of gets a little bit annoying when I'm fully loaded down. My gas mileage like drops considerably. And also like the off-road stuff, which kind of annoys me.
And that's one thing I was going to say is like one thing I've noticed with like my media intake and my dreams of motorcycling back then to now is like, because when I found the Scrambler, when I saw it for the first time, I was like, that I fell in love with the look of it. I loved it. I still do. I'm keeping my Scrambler till it won't start. It's like, I can do everything on this bike, on road, off road, and I've done the off road on it, but nowadays it's like, I have a much clearer idea. And I think even like scrolling through reels and stuff too, it's like back in the day, I would see like, like take your cool modern classic on this dirt trail and, all you need is a tent and a bag of chips. And, it's like, it was a little more like movied,
It's much easier to like see.
Well, and I feel like back then it was so much more prominent, especially like with how popular like the modern classic look stuff was during that time frame.
Seeing like people put big old knobbies on like a Bonneville.
Exactly.
Like off-road and like packing it with like a tent and a sleeping bag strapped to the back. And you're like, wow, that's a really cool look. I want to do that
as hell. Yeah.
And I feel like most of those photos probably get taken like basic dirt road. That's like, maybe like 10 minutes off a paved track.
Or it's somebody who's got like a career, like a lifetime knowledge of and experience off-roading stuff,
so they can kind of do it on most bikes basically.
But now it seems like most of my media that I see is like real off-roaders, like it's more dirt bikes or, like if it is an adventure bike, it's been modded to shit.
I mean, just look at our bikes. Yeah. Like I'm just looking back at like my current bike, and this is one of the hesitations that I also have with buying a new bike. Cause I'm like, okay, if I get a new bike, there's things I already going to have to get for it. Yep. Like I'm going to have to get like, wider foot pegs again, which I'll probably just take the ones that I have now, put the stock ones back on my bike, but then I have to get like a different bracket for it to fit on a different brand of bike. But I'd have to get that. I'd have to get new cargo racks so I can put my Moscow bags on them. I'd have to get probably new bark busters because most even adventure bikes just come with like
the plastic
nonsense.
Yeah.
Hand guards. I'd have to maybe get a skid plate depending on what kind of bike it is, and that's another like $1,000.
Yeah,
easily right there.
Yep.
And that's assuming the bike comes with all the features you want. Like, what if it doesn't have heated grips? Then you might have to get heated grips from the factory. I will not buy a bike that doesn't have cruise control, so that's already got to be built in. That's one of the criteria.
Yeah.
And just like all these different things, and it's like just buying isn't enough. You also got to buy the stuff to put on the bike to make it like do stuff that you're planning on doing with it, which is, taking trips and camping and riding long distance. So that's kind of like one of the other hiccups. But now I kind of have a better idea of like what exactly I need, because on my Tiger, it was kind of like piecing together over the years, like the different parts. Like, I got panniers, I need racks.
Yeah.
I'm doing more off-road, I need protection. I need beefier skid plate. I need crash guards. I need bark busters. And slowly, like over the years, putting all those things together. But before that, it was kind of like, oh, I have bike, I go ride.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah. I remember now finally. Do you think for you, I feel like, because we're kind of like opposite situations when we first started riding. You bought used for your first bike. I bought new.
Yeah.
Because for me at that time, I had like the world's shittiest car. Do not buy a Ford Fusion. But so I was like, I'm not doing any more used problems. I'm buying new.
Yeah.
And then I got this. I found the Scrambler that I love. Got it. Great. But for you and at the time that you got it, do you think that the market was different, like versus like you, because you didn't have to wait very long, but they had to put your bike together, didn't they?
Yeah. So basically, like, I can't remember if I put a deposit down there or not. I think I did, but it basically was like a week out from when I actually bought it.
Yeah.
And they were like, they had to, like, it got shipped, they had to put it together and things like that. And that was one of the reasons why I went with the Rally, because the Rally Pro was like
even
3
longer.
to 4 months out, or something like that. I was like, I really want something.
Well, and I guess that would be one difference from then to now, is like, because the motorcycling saw like a boom from the pandemic.
It was a big boom during the pandemic, and I feel like that could be like a whole separate episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, like everything was like on back order. Plus there was like the supply chain issues from the world essentially stopping for an entire year or like almost 2 years. Basically, there was like, I don't remember when the whole, when the Suez Canal got blocked.
Oh my gosh.
That jackknife. I can't remember. Was that in 2020?
That was 20. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it was like the whole supply chain was like messed up. Things took forever to get shipped. Motorcycles were like, so many models are on back order because, parts availability kind of sucked. And yeah, like a lot of the Tigers the Rally Pros were there was a line to get one, and it was like 3 to 4 months out. And I was like, I really want something now. So I was like, I can get the Rally now.
And because of, where was I going with that? I guess like just now, like with the market and the availability, because like even your bike when we first started riding didn't exist.
Oh, it did.
Well, it not
came
the
out in
900.
2019.
The 19?
Yeah.
Or the
900.
The Tiger 900? Okay.
Because I went to a Triumph event in 2019.
Oh, yeah, no, I had it backwards.
Long before I got it.
I had it backwards, but they had like done like some change to it or something.
It was still the same. They changed it in 2024.
From the motor, on the motor. They did something to the motor.
Nope.
To the T-plane?
Nope, that was in 2019.
Okay.
Yeah. So Triumph.
Oh, no, you're right. Okay.
They're kind of like on a 4 year or 5 year cycle on their models, because the Tiger 800, I think one of the earlier models that came out in 2009, then they updated in 2015, and then or 2014, then 2019 they came out with the bike that I have. That was like the first year of that generation of the Tiger 19, and then 2024 they updated again, very similar in design to my bike, but they bumped up the engine power. They got the better fuel economy, which I don't know how they got those two to go up at the same time. And they also dropped the Rally model altogether. So now they just have like the Tiger 900 GT, GT Pro, and then Rally Pro, because I don't feel like the Rally was really bought that much, because people would bump up to the Pro, and I kind of like regret not just waiting for it. Because it does have the extra like the off-road Pro mode and things like that, which I feel like now that I'm doing more and like more off-road riding and more technical like trails that have a bit more obstacles that aren't just like flat fire roads, realizing that's like the feature that I'm really kind of missing is being able to have an off-road mode that kind of turns off even more of the assists and things like that. Because I noticed like when I was doing like the BDR with Emerson last year, there was part of the trail, this is the Idaho BDR, and part of the trail I was going up to Elk Summit, and it was like this trail that was like constantly uphill and switchback, and there was a lot of like a kind of like bigger rocks embedded in the ground. I can feel my back end and the traction control constantly kicking in. And now I realized that was because I had the traction control on and I have to dig through menus to turn it off. And I think that's why I had such a hard time like keeping up momentum on the bike, because of anytime the back wheel will bounce up, it will constantly like slightly slow it down, and kind of like made it hard to like keep moving up the hill. Plus I'm not very good at riding up hills. It's like a slow thing for me, and I've gotten much better about riding downhill, thankfully. But it was that limitation that now I'm like, back then that's not even something I would think about. I'm like, oh yeah, it's off-road mode, it'll probably be fine. But now I'm like, oh damn, I wish I could turn off traction control.
And that's why just a quick note on that, because I was wrong about the Tiger stuff. I realized it's like I was remembering wrong. It's like I was watching videos on the Tiger even before I bought a bike. So,
me too. Yeah, because it was the Tiger like 800. And stuff like that.
I remember when the new one came out. But no, but on mine though, it has that off-road Pro, which shuts everything off.
Yeah,
which is great. But I've been in that situation. It's like where like I turned the bike off and forgot to switch it back to off-road. So I'm going up a steep, chunky hill in road mode.
And all of a sudden the traction control is like freaking out.
Yeah. Like, why did I turn it? One, why did I turn it off? Two, why should that, like, turning my bike off shouldn't affect the mode I left it in.
Yeah. And it's kind of those little things that like, back when I got my Honda, like I wouldn't even think about, because one, the Honda didn't have traction control. That was just
my bike didn't have any. Yeah. It was just bike.
Yeah. It was bike. It had ABS. It didn't have riding modes. It didn't have, it didn't have throttle by wire. It didn't have cruise control, because it was just all like the throttle was mechanical and cable. So it wasn't like something that even crossed my mind that like I knew there was bikes that have like off-road mode, because I've researched the GS plenty of time before that. Not because I wanted to buy it, because I really thought the bike was really, really cool.
Yeah.
And I feel like I could see myself owning the big boy GS in like 10 years from now, when I have hopefully more money and more established, feeling more established and stuff like that. I could see myself getting one of those, not as like a primary bike maybe, but as like a long distance tour.
Yeah, a recreational vehicle.
Freaking awesome to have, because I have like a soft spot, especially if it's like the previous gen GS, even though it's like a chunky big boy. But I always just loved the idea of having that
Wouldn't
bike.
want to be picking that thing up left and right on a BDR though.
Probably not.
Personally.
I probably would not even take it on anything like a BDR, but like small fire road it can handle. Yeah. But mainly just for like touring and cruising on the highway, because it's such a comfortable bike.
Yeah.
But I just really love the idea of it, and I knew that, they have on those bikes, they have like the different riding modes. So I was aware of them, but I didn't know like how in depth they can get.
Yeah.
And I feel like even when I got my Tiger back in 2022, I didn't realize that bikes like the KTM and the Norden first came out that year as well in 2022, had like an even higher level of traction control and like all those different things.
I had no idea about that stuff.
And I feel like at the time when I bought my Tiger, if the Desert X was already out, I probably would have been cross shopping with that significantly, because it wasn't that much more than my Tiger.
Brand new. Yeah.
And I didn't have a car payment at the time. I like still lived with my parents, so I had a lot of disposable income.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
And
well, that was
like I could have easily afforded like the Desert X, but at that point I already had the Tiger. I'm like, well, I don't want to trade in like a bike that's not even a year old.
Yeah.
For a Desert X. Plus, there's always that concern. Like Ducati is a very premium brand. Plus, there's like the maintenance and the parts like availability plus price of parts. It's probably like a jump even from like Triumph to Ducati is probably like there's more costs associated with that. So I always had this like idea in my head that's like Ducati's a very premium brand.
Yeah.
Therefore, it comes with a premium maintenance price.
Yep.
Like even though Triumph is like I would consider like a fairly premium brand as well.
Yeah.
But I feel like they're not quite as premium as Ducati.
Well, they don't have. I feel like Triumph just seems a little more approachable.
It does feel much more approachable.
I don't know. Yeah. This is like me being a not Ducati owner, fast
same.
boy, I'm just like, it's like, I feel like, especially coming into it as a new person, it kind of just felt like, oh, I'm not up to speed for Ducatis, So.
Oh God, no. And I was like watching some reviews recently on like the Desert X and stuff like that. I'm just like, what if I did go buy that used one? and I'm thinking, I'm just like, a lot of the reviews say like it is a bike that both on and off road it likes to go fast. Mm-hmm. Like it likes to go quick, it likes to go fast. And
characteristic of Ducati.
I'm like, I'm not a fast rider, especially not off road. So I'm like, I feel like I would really be like neutering this bike for like a better word as I'm like riding it because I'm gonna be like chugging at a slow speed when the bike itself wants to go really, really quick.
It'll get you up the hill quick.
I mean, it will. It will. The thing is, like, am I willing to ride it that quick, though? And the answer is probably not. Yeah. Because I know, I feel like I have a better understanding of, like, where my limits are these days.
Yeah. I get that. So. But no, And I grew, for me, I was going to say, I grew into, like, the ADV thing, one, because we started hanging out.
Yeah.
But no, and even now, I still really enjoy just a road ride, like a day ride, like riding really up to Bear Lake, just cruising along the highways, not bad. Get some twisties. Also, off-roading's pretty fun.
Also, like when I,
it's a good challenge.
Yeah, when I did part of like the like Curtis Creek with Emerson. Yeah, which is part of like the Utah BDR, and we rode that to Bear Lake last year. I was just like. That was also really fun.
See, I do want to do that. If we can get some good weather before it gets 100 degrees, I would like to do it
later in May, early June and stuff. I feel like most of the snow's probably gone back there, but we keep getting these random cold spurts. Yeah, where it does dump new snow up in the mountains for like a brief week, basically. But yeah, I think both are fun. Road riding to me has become like now a lot more leisurely than off-road riding, because off-road riding I'm like thinking a lot more, I'm moving my body more. I gotta be like standing up, and there's a lot more like technical stuff.
Well, I think that's what I like about, especially now from having started on just a road bike, and with my dream, I guess, or like my idea of it was to be like, I'm just gonna cruise the country on the roads. But now it's just like, well, now I can, these last couple of years I'm not the best with it, but now I'm like thinking it's like, okay, like I'm going out to push myself, to challenge myself. It's an off-road day. Yeah. I'm going out because I just want to hang out with friends or by myself, and I can just chill and ride and hit some twisties. Yeah. I like the ADV aspect for that, is that we can plan differently, even if our bikes aren't the best for either.
It's really nice to have a bike that can still handle both. Mm-hmm. And I feel like I've done some both of us have done pretty gnarly stuff on our bikes, like the Lost Coast Trail in California and stuff. That was a pretty, I would say, not the easiest trail out there. Lots of hills.
Dude, those hills were steep too.
They were pretty steep ruddy. Hills and stuff like that. Lots they were super rutted out. I did like the Idaho BDR with Emerson. Going up that Elk Summit was not like, that was very challenging for me because I feel like my bike, I was just like, I wanted to go faster, but it was like mental block from going faster, but also like the bike itself kind of throttling itself and kind of slowing itself down thanks to the more aggressive like traction control, because I don't have the off-road pro mode. Yeah. And just things like that. I'm trying to think of what else.
I would put it this way for me, while you're thinking, it's just like if someone came back in time to Mitch in 2018, 2019. And it's like, you're going to be riding up a really steep hill in California off-road on a motorcycle, and be like, No, I'm not.
Yeah, I would probably be like, maybe, I don't
know. But now it's like, yeah, I absolutely would.
Yeah.
Or try it. Well, depending on the hill. But.
Yeah. And sometimes, and like we've learned from a lot of like these trails that we've done over the last couple of years is that and I think that's a big thing in like social media. You see people like riding off-road and they're like cruising, and you see these like kind of like smooth,
really just gorgeous areas
like,
and
gorgeous
like
areas, but also like flat-ish or maybe slightly inclined dirt roads that are like packed dirt,
not washboardy,
not rocky or anything like that. And I'm sure it really depends on like where you live.
I know. So it was those reels that really got me on the ADV stuff.
Because I've seen like, where I'm from, like in Russia and like the village and the countryside, there's plenty of dirt roads that are like that hard packed dirt because cars constantly drive on them between villages and things like that. Sure, there may be rocks here and there, but they're all it's pretty like packed dirt. And every time I go back to Russia, which has been a minute now, I see those roads and I'm just like, it would be really cool to have a dual sport right now and just haul ass down some of these roads from like village to village and just kind of go exploring a little bit.
Yeah.
It would be so much fun. And those roads, I'm like, yeah, that's pretty cool. And then we've seen some roads like that here.
They're just few and far between.
Yeah, in Utah and stuff. But I feel like on social media does a really good job of showing you like people like having this like almost leisurely stroll through like some beautiful mountain meadow and things like that, like maybe bouncing off some bumps and stuff on their bike. But a lot of times I feel like they don't show you the section before that where you might be riding over some like really loose chunky rocks,
really sketchy stuff,
some really loose chunky rocks or some like boulders embedded in the ground, kind of like inching your way along where you're going pretty slow or just trying to make sure you like maintain your balance and not drop your bike just to get to that section that's more smooth and more manageable. And I feel like riding off-road, it's very hard to predict what a trail is going to look like. You can look at all the ride reports. You can look at like Onyx off-road. You can look at videos on YouTube or find images of it on Google and things like that. But the thing with off-road trails is that they're off-road. They're not near like a town or
when something says like it's a maintained trail or maintained off-road area, it's like it's maybe maintained once or twice a year.
It might be graded like once or twice a year. It'll probably be washboardy or something like that if it has recently been like maintained, which basically swept gravel off and kind of regraded it. And but most of the time, like, it's very hard to predict what kind of trail you're going to get, even if the internet says like, oh yeah, this is a super easy trail. But like, there's also, there's also that question of like, easy for who? Is it easy for like a 250-pound dirt bike to get through? Is it easy for like a side-by-side or a Jeep to drive through? Or is it easy for like a full-blown adventure bike to go through? It's hard to tell. And then sometimes you're on a trail that you thought was going to be easy, and all of a sudden you see a section that's like covered in rocks for whatever reason, because maybe a landslide or something came down, and then all of a sudden you're like, all right, cool. Well, I either turn around or I plow through this, and hopefully the next spot is easier. But you just never know. You just never know what you're gonna get. And if you're, depending on how far into the trail you are, you kind of just have to keep pushing forward, because the way back might be even longer than the way forward. So
no, for sure.
And that's something that I feel like I understand a lot more now than I used to back when even I got my Tiger like 4 years ago,
right?
Versus now, because back then the most off-road I did was like, ant flats or something super basic, or if we did
it has an endpoint. The endpoint.
Or like a couple of like smaller trails and dirt roads we had in Colorado when we did that.
Yeah.
It's like super, super basic stuff.
Yeah. I remember that part. And like with Ant Flat too, that's something I still even like, especially when riding season starts up again, I still kind of will struggle with is like something like Ant Flat Road that we have here. It's like, it's pretty short. Yeah. And there's like highway break off points, we have to hop back on the highway to connect to like hardware or wherever you want to go.
Yeah.
Is that like, you just don't have that because the distances are so rough sometimes, it's just like, like once you're on the trail, you get deep enough, like you said, like you're in it.
You gotta keep going.
It's like if you turn around, you're gonna have to hit everything you just hit again.
Yep, exactly. And sometimes it's better just to like keep pushing forward to the next highway and next paved section versus going back to where you started.
I really wish I could have done like the part where I turned around in California.
Yeah,
I wish I had gotten up there with you guys, but at the same time, I look back and was like, those tires I had on there were they were doo-doo.
It is a bummer that you did turn around because like
it got great. I hear from you guys it got great.
That was the hard section.
Yeah.
That was the tricky section right there. And it was funny, like at the top of that, there was actually paved road that we could have like connected. Well, it was paved for like a minute.
Yeah.
But if you go back on the paved road, like it would have taken you back to kind of like Auburn maybe.
Okay.
We rode past the area where the roads kind of connect together. I'm just like, if we knew about that, or if we knew that the dirt road was going to be
that way,
we could have taken that way, or at least me and you maybe could have. Well, Emerson went like the dirt way and things like that. But like you said, like you just can't know. You can't know if you just hit the hard section and it's easy, smooth sailing from there, or was that hard section actually the easy section and the real hard section is coming up later, which has happened before. Yeah. So it's like a whole lot of thing. And on paved roads. And then riding like more primarily paved roads, well, still to this day, but also like
I'm 100% more going to be. I'm more of a road rider.
But then like before Emerson got his adventure bike and pushed us to do more off road stuff with him, I was probably like maybe like 80-20 split on road and off road, if that.
Yeah.
Now I feel like I'm probably still more 80-20. So back then I was like 90-10 on road off road split, but now. But like with road riding, you don't really think of those things. You don't think like, oh, is this road going to be like really rough for a minute and then get better? Because you kind of just know that it's paved, it's maintained by the county, the state, the city, whoever, that it's going to be mostly good with maybe a couple of potholes here and there.
Yeah.
You just don't get that off road. And now I know that, but back then it was just kind of like, oh, dirt road. If it's easy,
I saw this on a reel.
If it looks smooth enough, and I saw it on a reel or a YouTube video, I could probably do it.
Yeah,
it's a little more trickier than that.
No, for sure. I agree with you on that front for sure.
Yeah,
I still struggle very much with
Me too.
Getting into like I got to hit the trail, and if but stuff like Soapstone that we had.
There's plenty of roads.
I feel like roads I can
to.
practice at least to know. Like that's my biggest thing now. Even now is like still just getting used to how the bike feels.
Yep.
Off but
and I also feel like there's a big kind of difference in like the kind of gear you need for like on road riding versus off road riding, where they don't really like intermingle very well between each other. Especially when it comes to like the footwear and things like that, like for off-road, you want something lighter, you want something breathable because you're working your body a lot more, but for touring you might want something that's a little bit more protective, so random little rocks and bugs and stuff don't sting as much when they hit you.
Well, and you just how much you're sweating off-road, and like even if you are in road mesh gear, like that stuff doesn't breathe unless you're at high speed, so it's like you're sitting in a sauna, so
and one of the big things I didn't realize is like how much boots can make a difference. Like my boots, like they're not the stiffest because they're more touring boots than off-road. They're like ADV boots, which now I know because back then when I got those boots I still had my Honda.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh yeah, these are perfect for road riding. They're waterproof and they can also...
And they have some protection.
They have pretty decent protection, but back then I wasn't like riding off-road and standing up on my foot pegs the entire time while doing so, but now I realize like, oh, my feet hurt more because my foot pegs were narrow. Now I got wider foot pegs, which helped a lot, but also I need like proper like dirt boots
almost
that have like a stiffer bottom, so then your foot's not kind of like arching over your foot peg. It's more just staying stiff, and then so that's another cost, and then like getting like armor and a jersey is another cost, and like all these things that kind of snowball. But they don't always translate to having like road gear that you might be wanting to be wearing.
Yeah, and that was one thing too. Like from starting out riding back then, it was like, oh, I can just get some cool motorcycle jeans and a cool motorcycle jacket.
Exactly.
And I can go out and ride.
Yep.
And then like but now we're actually trying out this new stuff, and it's like, oh, we actually got like proper off-road gear, especially boots.
Like the first jacket I had was the Sand 4.
Yeah.
Or the Sand 3. And I paired that with a pair of Revit riding jeans and street riding boots. I'm like, I'm wearing this like adventure jacket with street boots and riding jeans. Completely doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
I thought it looked cool, which is also a factor.
Yeah.
Would I buy that now? I mean, no, because I already have it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But now I have like, a mesh jacket that looks like a button-up shirt.
You're right, yeah.
And some khaki-looking motorcycle pants. But then for adventure, I have my climb switchbacks and stuff like that, and my off-track, which I really, really like. And if I was doing like a really long ride, I think that's something I would prefer to wear. But if it's I'm doing a long ride with the intention of hitting dirt at the end of it, then I would probably wear armor and like a jersey.
Yeah.
But if I were to do like a 2-week ride, for example, if I was like solo, I know I'd primarily be hitting probably just paved roads, maybe light off-road to like a campsite or something here and there. I would probably wear my off-track because then I have the waterproof layer, I have the thermal layer, and they kind of all work well together. So
I'll have to show you my setup since I got like the Under Armour stuff.
Yeah. But so it's like a whole different ball game. Going from or trying to do more off-road riding and realizing like the limitation of both your bike, yourself, and the gear that you have, and trying to come up with solutions on how to fix that. Gear is pretty easy. Yourself can be easy for some, probably harder for others because a lot of it's mental. And then motorcycle is the most expensive one to adjust.
I was actually going to say like
you might need a different motorcycle altogether.
Well, like looking back to like before I was riding motorcycles till now too, it's like I don't think I've spent my entire life leading up to the point when I first got a motorcycle. You could account for every single dollar I spent buying clothing items, and it still would not, my entire life, and it still would not account for come close to how much money I've spent on clothes since riding. Because I got finding the right stuff. Now we're like, oh, I do want to off-road a little bit. So now I got to get some, this stuff. So it's like, I've spent so much money on riding gear.
Is probably by far has been my most expensive hobby. If I were to include the cost of the bike, the cost of the gear, the cost of like,
well, the bike is a big ticket item, but like the gear just keeps piling up.
That's true. Yeah. Because before that, my most expensive hobby was photography, which, if you do photography, if you're listening to this, photography or video, you know how expensive that can also get when you're adding in, and it's kind of the same thing. You got snowball effect because you're like, oh, you have a camera and lens, but now you also want this lens so you can get this kind of effect. Oh, but now I'm filming more video. Now I kind of want more lights. Now I kind of want more strobes so I can get better lighting in photos. And it's kind of like this constant thing. But with photography gear, I feel like you're kind of like, once you have it, it's mostly good.
Yeah.
But with motorcycle gear, I found I'm just like, oh, I keep wanting to just make small incremental improvements over like what I already have.
Yeah.
And it's just crazy. Like I got the whole Moscow panniers now
that
were not cheap at all. Those things are fucking expensive. And, but I love them because they allow me to like more conveniently pack my bike without having to drape do you remember my old saddlebags that I had, like the Cortec ones that looked lopsided because my exhaust on my Tiger is much higher than it was on my Honda, so it just looks ridiculous. Plus they were like cheap and kind of dinky and did not have the capacity, but the Moscow bags have. So it's a lot of those. It's an expensive hobby.
It is. No, it is for sure. So, but like that's what we fell into. It's what we love. We still love it, right?
It's so much fun.
And I oh, what were you gonna say?
Oh, no, nothing. It's so much fun, and I'll probably be doing it for as long as I can in my life.
Yeah. So,
and just one more expensive hobby to add to my other not cheap hobbies.
Right. Yeah. Gosh. But
I think that,
I was just going to say like all that too, everything we talked about, it turned out different than when we started, how we imagined it. But
very much so.
One thing that I will say for sure that I've noticed in the motorcycling community, at least in my perspective of it, is getting into it during the pandemic. there was a lot more community around it. I felt like there was, I met so many people, friends that I've made who are still friends to this day. I feel like I'm not getting that nowadays because life's kind of back to normal. It's back to,
it feels more normal. And
I feel like a lot of people, me included, like branched. We got into motorcycles, one, because we got our stimmy checks.
I mean, yeah, that helped a lot.
Yeah. But like getting out too and meeting people with this new exciting hobby, people were more willing to like greet and talk. And maybe it's still that way a bit, but I feel like there was more of like
I feel like part of it's also because we kind of like have our like core group of people that we also ride
nowadays
with. So now we don't have to like go out and seek more people to ride with like back then. Yeah. How it would have been. So I feel like that's also part of it.
Maybe it was more like pandemic lenses, but I just felt like it was more like with motorcycling, it's like, hey guys, like we're kind of all in this together. We don't know each other, but we can hop on a bike. And
I feel like a big thing of like cabin fever probably helped with that too, or people kind of like eager to leave their house because we didn't really have anything going on, and motorcycles still like a hobby where you could like kind of be more socially distant but still hanging out with people at the same time. So
no, for sure,
it was like such a strange time.
Yeah, it really was. But speaking of that too, with community, meeting people, getting to know each other, I probably should wrap this up soon. But the Distinguished Gentleman's Ride is happening May 17th.
May 17th. Yeah. And then we'll probably mention at the beginning of our next episode to kind of remind people. But yeah, it's a great way to meet people. It's a great way to see some bikes, and it's for a good cause, supporting like men's mental health research and mental health in general. It's a great way to get yourself involved in like their local motorcycling community and make some friends. Yeah, so sign up if it's going on in your local area. Yeah, but be sure to hit us up too if you have any particular stories or memories from when you first started riding it, especially if you like started riding around like during the pandemic times or like when we did. Yeah. But if not, if you just noticed anything from when you first started riding to what's different, what you know. Exactly. Yeah. Sweet. But should we wrap this up? I think so. Yeah, it's been going on long enough. We yapped. Thank you guys so much for listening. Hopefully this was, I don't know, it was kind of just us yapping for an hour. Yeah. Hopefully it was still informative, or, you enjoyed reminiscing our reminiscence about our 6 years of riding so far. But anyways, thank you so much for listening. We'll see you in the next episode. See ya.